Welcome to CGI Digital's Better in Your Business podcast. I'm your host, Greg Mee. We talk about what's next to better in your business online and in the marketplace. Today on our pilot episode, we have Tom Kickert, account manager, 4 years at the company, Mr. Employee of the Year himself. Thanks for being here, Tom.
Thanks for having me.
Jim Potnofsky, Swiss Army knife, 25-year veteran, vice president of the company. Jim, thank you for being here as well.
Excited for this. This is going to be great.
Awesome. Thank you. We're calling this the Better in Your Business podcast, where we talk about what's next to better in your business online and in the marketplace. What do you guys think? Love it?
Love
Hate it? Love it?
It's what we do for a living.
Perfect.
I like it.
Yeah, perfect. What do you think of the setup?
Amazing.
This is pretty nice.
Bright lights.
Yeah.
Fancy microphones.
We're getting there. We're getting there. So this is something that we've talked about for a while. Obviously, it's all about your built-in audience. What is the built-in audience?
Built-in audience. Every business on earth has a built-in audience. And I don't think many businesses or many people ever have thought of this. I certainly hadn't. But when pointed out, just in all of the trainings and stuff and meetings with Bob, when pointing out, it makes perfect sense. I believe that most businesses, just from going on sales calls, talking to businesses all over the country, if you ask 10 business owners, what do you do for advertising? They'll go, I don't do a whole lot. I have a website, and they consider having a website as advertising, and it is not. But when you break down the way the world works today, the BIA, or the built-in audience, is comprised of three different things. And every business has these three things. Is their earned audience, what most businesses consider, that's what they would consider their word of mouth. We call it the earned audience because over years and years of doing what they do and doing a good job and being ethical and all that, they've earned that audience who will then refer them. But a business owner will know that section as their word of mouth audience. The second is the need it now audience. These are back in old man me day, used to be the yellow page audience, right? It used to be if you had a plumbing emergency or something, you needed something now, you went to the yellow pages, looked up plumbers, found an ad there, called them. Nobody does that anymore. But what do? They take out their phone and they'll Google XYZ in their town or XYZ near me. So businesses are paying tons of money to have a strong SEO, which is a big funnel to their BIA. And the third is all of the things that they do that are sponsoring a festival, billboards, radio, television, any advertising they do to get their name out in the community. All three of those things funnel to your website. And I think every one of us can agree, whether you're going to a new restaurant or using a service, you Google them and go to the website to check them out. Absolutely. Even if you've made up your mind you're going to choose them, you do a little further investigation. So when you identify that to a business owner that they have a BIA, they have a built-in audience of those three things, all of which funnel to your website, how important does your website become? And if you have that aha moment, as Bob says, where you realize that your website is now like your second location.
Yeah.
And it makes perfect sense. It's
So do you think a podcast fits into that? Because it's all about building an audience, right? That's kind of what your built-in audience is. So you have to be where your presumed audience is. And if you're not there, that's missed opportunity.
Yes.
So that's kind of like the reason why we're doing a podcast, because, people listen to these, obviously. You look at like Joe Rogan and Gary Vee, who've made like a living off of doing this. So why not be there?
I agree.
To create another channel for that built-in audience, for them to come to your digital doorstep.
Yes.
So
I mean, I look at it this way, like, do you like to read a book or watch a movie? Honestly, I mean, be honest, like seriously.
Watch a movie.
Even if you said read a book, like it's whatever, but at the end of the day, like I can't even tell you the last time I read a book. I probably since college when I was forced to do it. Didn't have a choice, but
unless you're my wife, because she literally reads like 8 books a week. But she's
I'm
far for you. Okay.
I'm a big reader, but I get it. Like I'll give you my example. I like to read because I like to read, and people that like to read books or whatever their topics of interest are. However, I will agree with you wholeheartedly because I grew up. Newspaper would come. I'd go look immediately to my team's, the sports section, read the highlights of the game. And then when it all went online, I would read the highlights of whatever my team was doing. I don't do that. I haven't done that in 10 plus years. I now watch all the highlights. I can watch an entire New England Patriots game, no commercials, just the highlights in 20 minutes.
But think about how hard it was to find those clips, even
Back then,
like 10 years ago. Like you were searching everywhere to try to
Yes.
find them, right?
Now they come right to my phone
It's amazing.
because of all the things I follow.
Right.
I'll get all the updates, last night's highlights.
Right.
They just come to me.
Yeah. But back to what you said about reading a book, I think we can all agree that those people that do choose to read rather than watch a movie are very far and few between. Like the majority of the consumer base is probably would choose to watch a movie.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, imagine going to a comedy show, like, I don't know, like Dave Chappelle, let's say. Do you even know if Dave Chappelle like wrote a book ever? I'm pretty sure he did, but don't quote me on that. But it's like trying to read his stand-up comedy. None of that's going to slap. Part of it's
Sure.
like the emotion. Part of it's just like his facial expressions, the dialogue, the rhythm. You don't get any of that reading. So it's the same thing with like a website. I always like honestly, I make clients almost hypocritical where I'm like, hey, why do I want to even pick you versus like the 10 other people that are going to show up? And then they go into this long explanation. They're like, oh, I've been in business, blah, 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 quality service, guarantees. And I'm like, dude, like, I'm trying to read that on your website. It's not going to hit as hard. Like, part of the reason why I choose to work with you is because of you.
Right.
You're a quality person. I'm not going to get that from the website.
Right. Right.
So
I agree with that.
visual sell.
Yeah. Cool.
Bob had a real good analogy real early on in one of the first meetings that I was in talking about Seesaw, and it just hit with me because I do like movies too. I love movies. In fact, I've seen
Loves 'em.
every movie. But he said, think of this. Movies come out, these big Hollywood productions from the top studios. They could put out a text synopsis of the movie. No one would read it. They come up with movie trailers because they are engaging, they're entertaining, and they're informative. And you go, oh, just like that's my favorite part of going to a movie at the theater, which I rarely do now, but my favorite part is the trailers before the movie starts, and you're sitting there and you go, ooh, I want to see that one.
Yeah.
Or you
Right.
go, that one looks like a stinker.
Yeah. It's like thumbs up,
Yeah,
thumbs
yeah,
down. That's
yeah,
what I always
yeah,
did with
yeah.
my wife when we went to the movies. I would look over after the trailer and I'd be like,
Yeah.
So Jim, obviously Mr. Swiss Army knife himself.
Yes.
He's been here, company, how long?
July 12th was my 25th anniversary.
25th anniversary.
I was 1 year old.
And you've done literally like everything at the company. I
Yeah,
feel.
yeah.
But lately you've been focused on recruiting.
Yes, and
Training?
I think that is super important because
Yeah.
of the growth mode we're in right now.
Sure.
Is and I have a philosophy about recruiting that I don't think a lot of people look at. I think people interview a candidate for the position, and they talk about the position more, where I do things a little different when I talk about the position, but I more recruit for the mission, for the entire company. This is what you'd be doing should you come here, but
Right.
this is what we are doing.
Right.
And it has it might seem like a slight thing, but it's sincere and it's real because most of us, I think, including me, I don't know what role you came in or you, but came in a role originally and then ended up doing other things just as you were growing through your career. And that's a real possibility here. I can name 10 people off the top of my head that have worked here for years
Sure.
that came in one role, and they may have done 2 or 3 different things, and you're one of them, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right? So
I came in from production.
Yeah.
I was in production for 6 years. I rose the ranks from production assistant. I wrote for a while. I was a producer, so I ran a team for a while. And then I literally hit a creative wall, and I needed something different. So then it's just like I was in CRM with Brandon for a while. And then I went to Snap Nation. I did ComOrg training for sales executives for a while, then started ReviewTube. And now I'm in this like marketing role at the company that I've, kind of grown in the last 5 years. But I think recruiting's almost as important for a business as business growth, right? With the consumer base. So it's competitive on both ends. You're trying to gain new clients and customers while gaining new employees to almost help with that growth, right? So, I mean, if you had to pick one thing that this company and any company could do to better that recruiting game, what would it be?
Well, I think because when I came into the company, I started as a recruiter. That's what I started
Sure.
here as. And there's a whole story behind when I end up going into sales and all the other things I've done. But what's so different now about recruiting is since COVID or post-COVID world, the entire country opened up as a source of candidates. So you can literally work anywhere and live anywhere else because it's majority of them are remote. There's so much opportunity for individuals, but it's a big opportunity for companies because you had a recruitment pool of, say, Metro Rochester for Rochester. You had a recruitment pool of our office in Richmond or Indy or anywhere. Now you can.
So you're just not limited.
You're not limited, but it also makes it difficult because the candidates are no longer limited. It's
That's
tricky,
what's made it like super competitive.
Right. And that's why it's so important. What I do when I'm interviewing somebody is it's a 50-50. I look at it that way mentally, and I always have. That candidate is taking their time, which is just as valuable as my time, to interview CGI.
Sure.
And we're taking our time, or me, or whoever's interviewing them are taking our time, and we're trying to find a match. It's not about me trying to sell CGI based on what I believe of it. It is me telling you this is what it is.
Right.
Here are my thoughts on it, but I want to know what you're looking for, and we're
Right.
trying to find a match.
Right.
And when you have a discussion, as the way I interview is very, very casual by design because I'm trying to see as close to the real them as possible.
It's like an in-person swipe left,
exactly.
right?
And I'm
With an
trying to
online
find
dating.
a match. And if we can find a match, they're usually going to end up happy. And, they're looking at us going, does this company meet or exceed what I'm looking for?
Sure.
We're looking at them going, should we hire you? Are you going to meet or exceed our expectations? And somewhere in that conversation, you're trying to find, and if you can do that, it's beautiful.
Yeah, I mean, everybody's trying to find those top of the line candidates. So it's just like you got to find your ideal candidate. So there's a weaning period, a growth period, a schmoozing period, to like build that relationship. So when you're talking to potential candidates, what's like a top priority for them? Is it like being remote? Is it
They all have different, based on the people I have tons of interviews a week, and all over the country, male, female, older, younger, all of them. Everyone has a different need. My belief in what I think it has to do with the stage, not the age, but the stage of life they're in. What I've observed, whether it's right or wrong, but I've observed this. Usually people that are at a certain stage of life that have smaller children are real big on the remote, to being able to work remote so they can be home and do their family type stuff. Whereas somebody that's at a stage of life where they're not married or single, they want to come in and have some access to office because they don't want to just be in their apartment all day.
Right.
It varies. Everybody has their own specific wants or needs or things that they like. So that I can't just say it's one thing or another that's the hot topic. It varies completely based on the individual.
Gotcha.
I will say it's like my favorite line that Bob always says is like Chris Rock, you're only faithful to the options that you have.
Yeah.
Honestly, I know a lot of people that just only work remote.
Yeah.
So part of the reason why I like, other than just loving what I do, but at the same time, why I work here is I was remote for 2.5 years. Like it actually sucked. Personally, I couldn't stand it. Like I wouldn't even know his name
You're
if
like
it
a shell
wasn't
of
coming in.
yourself.
Seriously,
Yeah.
like I wouldn't be sitting here right now, waking up, working, and then turning around, you're in your bedroom or you're, it's like not really great for the environment, really good for your mental health, but it is for some people. I've learned to be very flexible with that. So the fact that we have options here, again, to the whole statement, you're only faithful to the options that you have. It's like I don't have to choose one or the other. I get a choice. Now, personally, I like to come into the office every day because I like being social, and I'm kind of over the whole working from home thing.
Sure.
But it's also nice to know that, hey, like if I'm sick, like, and I'm still cool with coming in or like working, but I just don't want to get other people sick, I could at least do it from home. So I think that's like something that's not, it's almost not a norm. Like not a lot of my friends have that option. They're either back or they're not, you know? I mean, what did you ever work from home?
I worked from home for the first 8 years I worked here. Almost 10 years, actually.
Really?
Yeah. I lived in
Were you in
Arkansas.
Rochester? Oh, you were in
I
Arkansas.
lived in Arkansas.
Wow.
And I would fly out of Arkansas. It was very centrally located. So Bob and I would travel around and do interviews and stuff. So I was constantly flying, and Arkansas is very centrally located where I could go anywhere pretty quickly. And Southwest flies in and out of there. So that was good for us too, but very flexible with that. But I did it for a long time. But even back then, before anybody knew this would ever happen, I would wake up, take a shower, get dressed, and my office was on the complete other side of the house. And then when I started having children, no one was allowed in my office. It was my office. My wife would maybe call me from the house phone and say, I made you a sandwich, and I would go out there, but I treated it like going to work.
Yeah.
I think that's one of the reasons I did it so long. When COVID hit, I never stopped coming in. Even the 6-week shutdown, I came in.
Wow, that's
every
amazing.
day.
Yeah. So you try to like fake it, right?
Yeah.
You do what you can to like create that professional environment in your home.
On the record, Jim Podanowski, faithful and loyal employee.
So Jim, just changing that perspective.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, you talked about how CGI, as a recruiter for CGI, and like how we recruit internally. What's a tip you could give any business out there for finding that ideal match, that ideal candidate, so they can get, attract their top talent?
That is a great question, because every business on earth, whether it's 3 employees or 1,000, they have a certain culture there. And it's individual to every business. Some are similar, but it's pretty individual to each business. If you ask any business where their best recruits come from, 9 out of 10 times they'll say a current employee referral. Because I believe when you know somebody that works there and you know that person personally and go, well, they're doing well over there. I know that person. I should be able to do well there. And they're hearing from one of their peers, right? They're hearing from a peer. I love it here because of this, that, and this. You're a friend of mine. I know you're going to love this too. And that's usually why they work out, right? And that's everywhere. That's even here. Some of our best employees came from a referral. But at CGI, we like to hire people that are like our current people. And business owners, when they're recruiting, just when I talk to candidates that come to work here, you all know our product insights.
Mm-hmm.
Like prior to the interview, you can see the employees that work there. Are they like you? And answer questions that you have in mind is incredible. That is a modern version, a very modern version, because I know no one else that does it, but it's a very modern version of an employee referral. Because the real reason an employee referral works is because they're hearing about the company from one of their peers. And so businesses, if you did an open house or something, or you had open houses where candidates could come in and meet real employees, that's a very difficult thing to do, because you're trying to run a business,
right?
And you can't have everybody come in while you're trying to work,
right?
But you certainly can have individual testimonial videos of actual employees, how long they work there, what they do there, what it's like working there, the good and the bad, because somebody's good is another person's bad, and somebody's bad is another person's good. It depends on the individual.
Right.
So I think if you are in business and recruiting is a big priority, hiring and recruiting is a big priority, which I believe, just because I read a lot of news and HR stuff, every business feels, I just can't get good employees. I just can't. And they blame the people don't want to work. Everybody wants to work.
Yeah.
It's,
But
yeah.
every business has an employee base that
Yeah.
works for them.
Yes.
They're your best asset
Yes.
when it comes to recruiting. So why not use them to recruit?
Couldn't agree with you more.
those top
Right.
talent?
It's just, I don't think businesses have quite figured that out. They do the same things everybody does. They post on Indeed, they post, they have incentives for employees to refer a friend, all these different things that go on that we've been doing for forever. But the reality is I talk to the people we hire and ask them questions. I have video testimonials when you came here. For a business today, it's hard to get someone to show up to the interview, which is
Yeah.
crazy because I just can't imagine scheduling an interview and then just no showing the thing,
Sure.
right? But it happens all the time, and I hear stories of it all the time. It dramatically cut down for CGI no shows or ghosted interviews when we started using insights where because people are going to research a company before
Right.
the interview, so they're prepared. But they also want to know all of those things they're afraid to ask in an interview.
Yeah. Gotcha. Thank you. Tommy, you work with a book of business. You talk to business owners every day, right?
I do.
So what's one common thing that you're consistently seeing when it comes to these conversations? Like, what is there like a common need, a consistency among business owners, or does it vary?
I think it honestly varies, but it's kind of like the same thing that Jim was just saying. Nobody wants to work. I can't find anybody. The market, this economy, the politics. I'm like, dude, you're going to literally deal with that for the rest of your life. And I always say history repeats itself, but puts a twist on it at the end of the day. Like somebody will say, oh, this is a crazy time. Well, what happened in 2008, with like the housing crisis and everything? Well, what happened in the 80s? Because I do have some old clients.
Yeah.
Everybody needs marketing, and that's the truth. But I think what's happening now is that those that were doing old tactics, billboard ads, the 80s, before the dot-com boom, they're recognizing that they're falling behind. Because, look at there are still some relevant businesses that are doing like cable and billboard and newspapers, but I think they're recognizing now that it's getting more expensive and it's not relevant. Like it comes back to like that whole thing we were just talking about. Like, would you rather read it or see it? Sure. Like what's actually going to stick with you? And some of the tactics that CGI actually has work. Like this isn't a joke. There's a reason why we're platinum partners with Google, right. So Jim was talking about how man, I'm thinking about like the Patriots game and I was like looking something up earlier and then all of a sudden I'm starting to see things pop up. That doesn't just happen for a chance.
Right.
It's happening for a specific reason.
Right.
So
there's strategy behind it.
Right. What I think is happening now is people are getting more hyper-focused. So it was always about like, hey, we need to have a Google listing. We need to have a website. Maybe we should do some social media. But now what I'm starting to find with clients is they're trying to get more hyper-focused with their goals. Because at the end of the day, none of this is going to matter without goals. So for instance, I was just talking to somebody. I was like, dude, what are your goals for 2024? Have you even thought about that yet? Or are you thinking about like just getting done with the year? He was like, I really want to get more recruiting. I really want to get more of a center-focused sale with this specific product. Well, how are you doing that? Like, you just have a brochure right now. You just kind of have some social media posts. Like, yeah, we can find you, but that doesn't tell the story you're trying to get. So what I'm finding, honestly, is a combination of video content, but with targeted aspects to it. So What's been really hot, and I know we're going to talk about Seesaw later, but honestly, like YouTube ads, we're getting really into streaming services. Like, Jim, did you know we can actually do Netflix and Hulu now? Did you actually know that? We can literally target. Idea. So think about it.
That's amazing.
Yeah, like literally, we used to watch Hulu. I've had Hulu for years, but when you would see ads on there, it was just Nike, Coca-Cola, all of these big companies. They're like 1%. Think about all of the millions of businesses. Yeah, the revenue might be different, but that doesn't hit the local audience. Like I can go to any shoe store and get a Nike shoe, but I can't get the quality XYZ product from the local person anywhere else, know? So we're actually seeing like, and shout out to the Google Ads team, like they're killing it right now, but YouTube ads, Hulu, Netflix, we actually have those packages now. And it's something that wasn't there 5 years ago, I think the biggest shift though is with visuals, video content. I mean, it's not about push, it's about like emotion. Like I could talk about logic for 25 minutes. I could go down that entire road and it really means nothing. It's at the end of the day, what do you do the most? What do you like to watch? Where do you think your engagement is? And the tactics that you were doing in the 80s are becoming obsolete because the next generation's coming up. Like,
Right.
I think I bring a little bit of a different vibe, to be quite frank, in terms of like the audience, because I'm oftentimes talking to people as a 26-year-old that's like 20 years older than me. So it almost like works out a little bit better because I'm giving them honest advice of like what I do. Like when I'm done with work, what am I doing? I'm going on
Right.
TikTok, YouTube.
Right, right.
I have,
You're living
YouTube
it.
channels that I literally, I'm literally living it. I'm like, dude, like putting myself in the shoes of the consumer, I would literally never do that
Yeah.
because it's not fun. It's not enjoyable. So the biggest shifts I'm seeing, and I think CGI is doing a really good job with it, is capturing video and getting that emotion. I brought it up earlier, but if you can get somebody to associate with your business and like feel like, hey, they're talking to the actual owner, or like they feel like a sense of almost like entitlement that I have to use this business because everybody else sucks. That's what we really want to capture. Like, why
Right.
you?
Right.
But the old ways just don't work anymore. And it's a differentiator or die concept. I'm finding a lot of people are doing it though. It's working out.
So you were talking about the Hulu and the YouTube and the all the other advertisements you can do out there. So if you're pitching that to an older business owner, are you finding pushback? Are they like widely accepted? Like how do you get over that hump to have them come around to be like, yes, I need to do this?
Yeah. So I always try to tell people, look at, do you use Facebook? Do you use TikTok? Do you use Instagram? And it's a 50-50. Some people are like, maybe sometimes, or they're like, nah, like my grandkids do it. I'm like, it's really important to not make yourself the consumer.
Sure.
You have to recognize that there's 8 point whatever billion people on earth that are different than you. Everybody's different.
Right.
So what I talk about is, hey, this is a tactic that has actual research backing it up that works. Instagram Reels. Do you even read? I actually put them in their shoes, like thinking about the old things they used to do. Like, do you even get a newspaper anymore? Like, nobody does that.
Right.
I mean, I don't know if Jim does. He's
No.
kind of an old man, but
No,
like
but,
seriously.
trust me, my wife was like held on to getting the newspaper just for the coupons for like longer than anyone on earth. But we haven't for a million years. So.
But I think what we really have to understand is just like user habit. So people are just very like multitask right now. I got to do 5 things today versus like I'm going to cook dinner and then I'm going to put the kids to sleep. Like they're constantly doing so many different things at the same time. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know about you, but do you like, how many times do you check your phone? Like, are you on Instagram all the time? Are you a social media user?
Yeah.
Are you?
Absolutely. Yeah.
So how do we take all of that information that we have and use it towards tactics of growing business? Short but entice and effective answers are what we really need. That's where like reels are coming into play. If you really think about TikTok, it's just a slideshow of videos that are like 30 seconds long. I think it's a little bit longer now, but I'm not getting a lot of pushback. I'm kind of going a little bit farther than what you asked me. I think that the call to action is there. I'm like, why don't we take the enjoyment part that people actually like out of these platforms, because they're already there. We don't have to convince people to go on Facebook, convince them to go on Instagram or other platforms, and like push like relevant business to relevant audience members. Because the biggest difference with what we have now is we can target relevant members that should be using our services. So it's not like I'm just going on Facebook and promoting a HVAC installation to a 15-year-old.
Sure.
We can control that environment. And I think it works out well. I mean, I'm going to be honest, I buy a lot of stuff off of Facebook. So as a consumer, it works for me. But,
Sure.
does that answer your question?
Yeah, absolutely, dude. Absolutely. So so what I'm gathering, it's more about not sticking to one strategy, but to try to be open to a multi different strategies at the same time.
Yeah, like differentiate.
Yeah.
Don't put all your eggs in one basket.
Right.
And even the clients that I find, like if we're getting really strategic, okay, you still love your radio ads. And yeah, you're paying $20,000 for that, which is a totally different conversation.
But it's one audience.
Yeah, it's one audience. Like, why don't we just try something else? Because what happens if that stops working? Then you're in trouble.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just not the smartest way to go about it. So it's the ease into the concepts that are today, because a lot of people aren't accustomed to change.
Sure.
You know, like,
yeah, they're comfortable in what they know and what they do.
So I haven't got a lot of pushback because I think a lot of people recognize that this is where it's at.
Sure.
But it's also a nice shift because, like, hey, I'm positioning that things are where they are now, but we don't know where they're going to be in a couple of years.
Yeah.
And keep an open mind with what's coming.
Right.
So that's been nice.
So you mentioned Seesaw, right?
Yeah.
We know what Seesaw is, obviously. So I'd like to get both of your takes. And if you could explain Seesaw to somebody that doesn't know what it is or how it can impact your business, what would you tell them?
We talked about the BIA, the built-in audience, right? Most people, most business owners have never thought of this concept, right? We live in a world now that when you need anything, you Google it. And no one on earth can convince me otherwise. I do it, you do it. You're 26, right? You do it. You're in your generation and those coming behind you are all going to do it. You need something, you Google it. In the world we live in now, you have to engage them immediately. And you have about 8 seconds to do that. Engage them. Then you have to keep them by entertaining them and then enlighten them and inform. And you must have a call to action. In essence, what Seesaw is, it is a content delivery system. A person's coming to your website because they want information. We all agree on that, right?
You're there for a reason.
Yeah, you're not there for fun. You're not looking at Plumber's website because you're bored on Friday. Anybody that's visiting a website, they are there for a reason. And when they are there, you have an opportunity as a business. And it's an important one because when they are there, you have to engage them. And what Seesaw is, in a nutshell, it is a content delivery system. And it's backed by an AI based on the choices that they make. It delivers the content of their interest. So say you're a kitchen and bath, like Robert's Kitchens and Bath, right? You do kitchens and you do bath. And if I go there at night, at midnight with my wife, when the kids are all asleep and we're in bed and go, listen, we got to redo these bathrooms. And I'm clicking on bathrooms, all of the content delivered to me is about bathrooms. And it's in lockstep with the static website. So if it knows I'm on bathrooms, everything on the traditional site will change to bathrooms as I'm watching the content about bathrooms.
So the video is complementing
Yes.
the narrative, that existing
Yes.
web page. That's amazing.
Yeah, and it is amazing because just like any of these, social medias, when you're watching certain topics, you get inundated. If you watch golf videos, I watch a lot of golf tutorial videos and things like that. So now I get 10 million of those because it knows what I'm watching. So if I'm watching, if I'm on the website watching bathroom remodeling, all of the filters into the funnels will give me additional ones, whether it be testimonials from customers that you did their bathroom, but it also has the several reasons people go to a website. Some are there because they want your service. Some of them they're looking for a job. So if they're looking at career opportunities, it'll funnel to a different set of content.
So what are they doing recreational today? Recreational.
People do things recreationally, and it typically takes 5 to 10 years for businesses to catch up to that. Just like when Facebook came out, and you guys old enough to remember, you had to be a college student to even be part of it, and you had to have an EDU email address. And then they finally, I think it was like 2007, they let everybody get one. And it was probably another, so 2008, it was probably another 8 years before everyone on the planet is using this. And businesses said, we should have a Facebook for our website. It takes at least 5 to 10 years for businesses to adapt to what people are doing recreationally. That is a fact.
Yeah. I got a wild stat for you guys. You ready?
Yeah.
Did you know 95% of consumers go online to watch a video about a product or service? It's amazing, isn't
That's
it?
not even shocking to me.
It's almost 100%.
Yeah, that's not even shocking to me. I do it. I don't know if you.
all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've always said marketing is for any business is a threefold process.
Yeah.
So you have to be found,
Yes.
meaning you have to show up on the first page of Google. You have to be seen. So that means standing out,
Yeah.
right? And then you have to be chosen.
Yes.
And it's why you choose. Why should I choose you?
Right.
You know, I've always, that's my my own motto.
Same.
Yeah.
I have that same one.
Well, let me ask you this. Name one digital marketing concept strategy other than blogs, because I'm not counting that because that goes against pretty much everything that anybody does. Name one strategy that doesn't involve video or enhance it. Can you literally name one? Actually think for a second. Like both of you. Think of it.
No. The top websites, the top traffic websites on
All have
planet
video.
Earth all have video.
Yeah, it's true.
So what I actually find is I'll go so hard with the process. So like, for instance, I'll talk to somebody about Google Ads. I'll say, look, this is an entire strategy that my team spent hours on trying to figure out, come up with a plan, do a SWOT analysis to figure out your threats, your opportunities, your strengths, and your weaknesses. And then we'll go through the whole thing. And I go, too bad. You can't do it because you don't have a video. Mm-hmm. So it's almost like we're shooting the horse before it gets sick.
Yeah.
For instance, like YouTube ads are like the best thing ever. They are, okay, quiz time. Just for knowledge, do any of you actually know how much it costs to like do a 30-second TV, cable, whatever, doesn't matter what the show is. Do you know how much that is?
Outrageous.
Take a guess.
Yes. So here's what they do if you like went to Spectrum and said, I want to do a commercial during the Golden Girls marathon on whatever the show, right? How they break down their price sheet is we're going to shoot the video for, it's a very small amount, right? Where they get you is buying the time of when it will air. So their loss leader is the film, even though it costs them $8,000 to film it and script it and all that stuff. We're going to charge you $1,000 for this, but then to be at the Golden Girls Marathon, you're going to pay $12,000 for 3 spots throughout the show. They get you on the air time, not the cost of the filming, and that's a fact.
Per month.
Yes.
That's the thing.
Yes.
And so like I was talking to this one guy, actually yesterday, he was paying $1,500 a month and they would do like a video rendition. It was literally a slideshow of pictures. It was like crazy. $1,500, 30 spots every month, but it was like random times, like 2 a.m., like 4 a.m. So the thing about YouTube is that it's not the same. Like the cost analysis is completely different. So whether you are watching that show or not, let's say Golden Girls is on, all right? Jim loves Golden Girls.
Love 'em.
And literally he falls asleep. It's 3 a.m. Well, the commercial is still running and that company still gets charged. And we also have no idea if those people are paying attention or not. With YouTube, so you have different options. Have you ever like noticed on YouTube, you can actually, if you watch more than 5 seconds, there's some videos that are like 5 minutes long. Have you ever noticed that?
Yes. You can skip. You can opt out of it.
Yeah. So let's just, for all intents and purposes, say 30 seconds. Okay.
Yeah.
So if I put a video on there for 30 seconds, I'm required to watch the first 5 seconds.
Yes.
Okay. Also, a requirement for YouTube is you have to have an end cap on there. So they have to, it is guaranteed that those individuals will see your logo, your business name, your phone number, your email, whatever. After 5 seconds, if I skip, that business gets charged nothing. 0. If I watch longer than 5 seconds, but let's say I skip at 29 seconds, that business gets charged nothing. So it's kind of cool. So think about it. I mean, if you're buying a 30 ad spot, you better be getting the full 30 seconds or
Absolutely.
it's illegal. So
Yeah.
You're making sure it's getting seen.
right.
They're accountable.
But here's the thing. And question time here. Give me your thoughts. How much do you think it costs for a full video view? So if I watch that full 30 seconds, just regardless of the industry or what was
All right,
searched or
who
anything.
produced the video? You have to have the pay to get the video done.
Yeah. So that's the thing though, is that you're promoting your business. So why would you put a junky video
All right,
out
so
there?
you get a nice video made. That's going to cost you
So let's say CGI does
8 to
it
10 grand. A finished minute is the standard.
standard.
And so you pay 8 to 10 grand. You got a nice video, and you put it to YouTube, and they say, "Hey, I want this to air in my area. Everybody watching XYZ videos." Is this the question?
No. So we'll come to that. But if I watch the full 30 seconds, so I don't skip, I watch the beginning to end and then my YouTube
One
video
time,
plays.
one individual.
One time, unique time. How much do you think it is? For one video view,
$50.
I was going to say 10.
2 pennies.
Holy
2 cents.
Jesus. I almost
2
swore
cents.
on the podcast.
1, 2. It's literally 2 cents.
That's dumb.
So
That's
it's
stupid.
crazy.
All
Like,
right, now you're changing my mind.
yeah, no, seriously. So I had like this orthodontist in Minnesota that was running ads on YouTube. 157,000 video views in a quarter, and he spent less than $100.
Oh my God. That awareness is
Crickets.
Here's the thing.
Crazy.
It gets even crazier. So literally, it's not about, it can be, so I'll take that back, but it's not always about the video you watch. So it's a Google ad. YouTube is owned by Google. So if I search something and I'm also in a location, that will trigger that ad to show up on YouTube. So it's really like
Targeted.
Yeah, it's really targeted. So
Targeted.
if I'm like looking for pizza near me
Sure.
and I'm in Buffalo, New York, let's say, like later that time, whether it's the Buffalo Bills or not, we actually can go the other way around though and target specific channels.
Sure.
I got one guy in Zeeland, Michigan that made $1 million doing this. That's literally not a joke. Windridge Perennial and Landscaping.
Shout out.
Shout out. Awesome video. I'm not even joking. And then he was like, oh my God, like, how do I do more of this? So to show you the power of like where things are at, and we can really control like the engagement and like the demographics of who's seeing this is wild. But compare that to, again, you're only faithful to the options that you have. There's still people doing radio. There's still people doing
Yeah.
cable, and
Yeah.
they're spending $50,000 a year
Yeah.
for nothing.
Right.
That's the problem.
You just reminded me of a great story, and I want to say this was their next client, but there's these caverns in Tennessee somewhere, right outside of Nashville. And if you know that there's a show on PBS called the Bluegrass Underground. They put on bluegrass music in this cave. You're like underground cavern, but it's like they have tables and chairs and everything in there. This guy is on PBS, famous for Bluegrass Underground. He also does wedding venues, and they're next client of ours. And he had like booked like 20 weddings over like 10 years, whatever, till next got his. But there's a testimonial, written testimonial that used to be on the next page that said he has made over $1 million in wedding venue increase alone since working with CGI. And when you brought up that guy made $1 million on that, it reminded me of that.
Success stories.
Yes.
And
Love it.
just last part with that too. Here's the craziest part. There's all these filters with Google ads. So again, I'm just going to call it a Google ad because that's what YouTube ads are. If I watch that video, it's always a unique user. So basically what happens is if I keep watching it, we prevent competitors from coming in there, from people that have already purchased from you or just not relevant audience members. So when you get a video view, it's always a first-time user that hasn't, in theory, watched the whole thing completely. So you're not wasting any ad spend either versus, Jim at 3:00 in the morning watching Golden Girls every single night because he can't fall asleep.
I love the Golden Girls.
Actually, they're pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Rose was my favorite.
I'm a Blanche.
Blanche. Me too. Blanche. So one more thing on YouTube, ads or Google ads, however you
Yeah.
want to refer it. So are you able to filter by demographic?
Yeah.
Like amazing.
We can do if it's relevant, age and gender
Geographic
as well.
and demographic.
Yeah, literally. It's pretty wild.
Yes.
All right, you sold me because I was.
But
So,
then,
go ahead.
well, here's the catch. So I give everybody this story about how awesome that is. And I actually, most people say what you say, $50, $10, like, and then I go, look we don't have a video. What are you going to shoot this with your iPhone 7? That's not going to work. That's a representation of your business, and you got to do it once, do it right. So you don't have to do it again for a while, because the way that we do it, we shoot such high quality video content that if a client needs a different rendition, hey, we have XYZ hours of footage. Let's tell this story.
Yeah. Invest in yourself so people invest in you. Right?
And we can run multiple ads. It's not one video. We could run as many as you want. It's pretty wild.
That's
For
crazy.
that price, that's unbelievable. I would have
Yeah.
never guessed 2 pennies.
2 pennies.
What was my guess? $50.
$50.
And I was going on lowball because I was lowballing.
So if you had one thing to say to a business owner who's not doing YouTube ads, why they should do them. I mean, just like in a quick synopsis, like your elevator pitch on YouTube ads.
Do you like spending a lot of money for no reason? No. Do you like putting yourself in front of an audience that isn't there? No. Do you want to be relevant? Yes. Let's get with the times. YouTube ads are so powerful. It's where people are. Do you watch YouTube? Probably, sometimes, whatever they say, depending on the age. If not, do your kids or your grandkids? It's kind of like that no.
Yeah, my video.
No. Do you
My
text?
audio.
Are you on a plane?
Did you get
Is the
that?
sky blue? I did.
It was great. Huh?
I watched it. But it's really actually not that hard. It takes about 15 minutes to explain
Yeah.
because this is the funniest part. It's just like Seesaw.
Yeah.
I'm talking about real human experiences.
Yeah.
Do you watch YouTube? There's over 1 billion video views a day. Anybody that says they don't is like saying they don't breathe air. That's just impossible. Seriously. So it's really not hard. It's not about logic, it's about the emotion. What do you literally do every single day, or at least once a few days? I watch video. I like to chill. I like to watch TV, we'll watch YouTube. It's always the same story. I've never had anybody ever say they just don't watch YouTube. So it's really not even an elevator pitch. It's just a simple conversation. I think a lot of people just take things and they make it too complicated. Do you watch video? Heck yeah, I do. Have you ever thought about promoting yourself where you also enjoy just like your day to day? Yeah, maybe. I don't know. And then we get into the logistics a little bit because you have to understand that. I don't know if I butchered this or not, but
You didn't. You
I'll
keep
say
going, man.
this.
You're doing great.
I'll say this: no matter the line of work, it's clear you know this stuff inside and out. You sold me. This isn't fake. I was like, I'm not a big fan of YouTube videos or ads before my. If I click on the thing, I want to watch something, but this makes a lot of sense to me. I believe you, but I also believe you're the expert, and it makes me think that if you're in a business of any field or wherever you are, that you have to have an ally. You have to have somebody who understands this to guide you so you can do what you love doing, whether you're a dentist or whether you're a heating and air guy or a plumber or a dog walker. That the world we live in, you need an expert to guide you through this. That I'm convinced of.
I always tell people, you don't hire me to like grease the wheels. You hire me to tell you the truth. At the end of the day, my job is to give you knowledge. It's your job to take advantage of that.
Yeah.
Opportunities at the doorstep. Are you going to take it or not?
Right.
So it's pretty easy, but it feels good when people actually listen to me, which is pretty often. I mean, that's why we're having so much growth here at CGI, because we're relevant to the times. But kind of coming back to what Jim said, though, okay, they see that video, they're going back to the website. Now, how do we not lose them through all the noise? Don't get lost in translation. And that's really where Seesaw is becoming pretty powerful right
Conversion.
now.
Yeah.
With our video content just being right on point and having a video interactive website backed up by real people with testimonials and levels of engagement that haven't been there in the past. I mean, this is a wild time to be alive, man.
Yeah.
Yes,
So-
I agree.
So this is our hot seat portion of the show. I'm going to ask you some questions. It's a this or that question. Just choose the first thing that comes to your mind. Okay. So I'm going to start with Tommy, and then I'm going to go to Jim. We're just going to alternate back and forth. Okay. Tommy, it's fall season. Pumpkins or apples?
Pumpkins, because they're awesome. I don't know. Like,
This is Sophie's choice here. I love pumpkins. I grow pumpkins. I love apples. I go apple picking. I love apple pie. This is tough. Now I got to for fall. If one that's like the pinnacle of fall, I'm going to go pumpkins. But also,
I like a good apple.
I love apples.
I know.
I love apples. I go apple picking every year. I love apples, eating apples, but I also love apple pie. But pumpkins,
Yeah.
when you think fall, I think pumpkin. I'm a lean pumpkin.
So I was told, and I don't know where I got this from, but if you have an apple in the morning, it gives you more energy than a cup of coffee.
I heard this. I don't know if it's true, but an apple a
Fake
day
news. I don't
keeps
believe
the
that.
doctor
at all.
away. Yeah, I don't know if that's medical advice, but
All right, Jim, you ready?
yes.
Taylor Swift or Travis Kelce?
Ooh, everybody's going to think I'm a horrible person, but I'm a Swiftie. Yeah, shocked you all. You thought I was going to say Travis Kelce, didn't you?
So do you
No.
want to talk about this? The whole
Yes,
controversy out there?
I love Taylor Swift, and I'll tell you how I love her. My daughter is obsessed with her, so she like plays. I don't even listen to the radio, but I'll hear a song, and I ask my daughter, "Who is this?" This is Taylor Swift. So now I start to like her, and I'm not a fan of the Chiefs, but I like Taylor Swift, so I'm going Swiftie.
Well, obviously, there's that whole controversy out there. It's like, is this a real relationship, or is the NFL just staging this to kind of attract another audience that they didn't have before? What do you think?
You're not going to even believe my daughter told me that this is people think this is staged.
It's a conspiracy.
I think they make a great couple.
Right.
Travis Kelce, I've had him on my fantasy
Beautiful
team. He's
people.
amazing. And she's amazing and talented and all that stuff. I just can't believe now my whole image of the earth will be destroyed if it comes out later that this is fake and not real. Because I heard like Travis Kelce shirts went up like 400% sales because of her. And I call him Taylor's boyfriend. I don't even call him Travis Kelce anymore.
You know what's crazy about that is I have a company that literally in Rochester just sells beads for a living. I'm not even joking. They literally just sell beads. They told me that their bead sales went up because of all the friendship bracelets with Taylor Swift.
Wow.
Whoa.
Isn't that crazy?
Good for them.
But
It's like that trending viral thing that's just like helped their business grow. Wow.
Yeah, but I am going to swing the other way. I'm going to go with Travis Kelce.
Yeah, we heard you do
You
that.
know, haha, so funny. Thank you. No, but like, I'm gonna be honest. I was more of a Justin Bieber guy growing up, and it was like
All right,
T
you're
Swift
back,
or
you're
Justin
back.
Bieber. So I was like, Justin Bieber actually came to
I
my high
love
school.
Biebs.
Did you know that? When I was in
came
7th
out-
grade, he came to my high school and did a concert for us. That's a real fact.
Wow.
We won the 98 PXY Pennyworth Challenge
Oh
when I was in
my
7th grade. And it was like, whoever gets the most pennies, we raised like
I remember those.
$20,000 in
He
pennies.
was like 9.
And then he like released it for his album, and then he was still under contract, so he came for like 15 minutes. But I was
Had a
like,
cup of coffee
Taylor
left.
Swift, overrated.
All right, Tommy, I got one for you. So and I love that this falls on your side with your question. So more influential, a positive online review or a negative online review?
I'm gonna go a negative online review, to be honest with you, because you could have 10 positives, but all it takes is one person to just, at least perceptually make you feel bad. I think it's all about perspective. I think as a business owner, it's the negative review that's more important in terms of like it's more important to not get that, is what I mean. It's more important to get positive reviews logically for consumers, but now I don't know if I'm answering your question. I would say more important is the negative review to deal with it. Obviously, it's more important to get positive reviews from a consumer perspective, but nothing is more important than real people talking, which is why we sell video testimonials here at ReviewTube. Let me know if you need any.
Shameless plug.
So let me tell you, I am convinced that there's science behind the negative. The negative review is more impactful. And all of you, anybody on earth can do this. Go look at anybody's review. And when you're on Google reviews, it has, was this helpful? On everyone, the good and the bad. And there'll be like 100 great reviews and no one says it's helpful. But the negative review, there's like 48. Yes, this was helpful. Yeah. So it is, you could do this. I've done it. The negative has a much bigger impact than any positive.
Jim, Safari or Chrome?
Chrome.
Why?
Jim doesn't have an
I'm a
iPhone.
Google guy.
He doesn't have an iPhone?
Yeah, no, I don't want an iPhone. And I could get one. I don't want, everybody in my family has an iPhone but me. And I'm mostly holding out because I'm stubborn and I don't want them to break me down. I'm happy with my phone. My phone does everything I want it to do. And I don't need to be
Don't you just hate when those green texts show up?
I don't know why that
I know.
bothers
You're
you.
like,
Why does
that
the
guy,
color
because
bother
you can't make your chat name. It's all over SMS. You don't get to use the
I don't
iMessage.
even know what that means.
Because you're old.
But yeah, I am. But green, why is the green text? What do you care what
Explain
the
it
color?
in certain simple terms.
So the internet.
Oh, I've heard of it.
You know when there's data versus like the cell towers with like SMS back in the
What's that
day.
have to do with me having it?
So because you don't have an iPhone, you're not sending your text messages through iMessage, which is using the data.
It's stupid.
Yeah, it is stupid that you're not doing that.
I
Yeah.
know that your terrible phone doesn't work. Try using your Apple Maps somewhere, and I'm there 20 minutes before you, and you're like, I'm driving to a brick wall.
Well, I don't use Apple Maps. I use Google Maps.
because you're
No,
stupid map, your stupid phone, and your stupid map.
So I got one more for you. Phone call or email?
Phone call.
Always.
Same.
Always. Online shopper or in-person shopper?
I'm gonna say I haven't bought clothes in 20 years. My wife buys all my stuff. These sneakers were given to me by my son. My wife buys every article unless I get CGI apparel. I hate shopping. If I want something, this is how old I am. I send the link to my wife and say, "Get this, please," and then she does that. I don't even know how to work Amazon.
So
Terrible.
So does she go to the store or does she buy it?
No,
online?
she'll buy it. I'll like send her a link to like Amazon.
Oh,
and go,
gotcha.
Hey, just get this, please, and she'll get it, whatever the item is. And I don't like physical store shopping. I don't like shopping. I like purchasing. So I will go to a physical store if I know I want to buy something. I go, I need to have new running shoes or something. I'll go to Medved and walk in the store, get my size. Can I have these in the 10? And then I'm out. But given the opportunity, if I had to do it myself, I'd probably purchase online.
Yeah, I'm pretty terrible as a consumer. So what I'll do is I'll go like in person if I need something. So I just bought this like new sound bar. So I listened to it at Best Buy and then I was like, sounds pretty good. And then I went and bought it online. That's just what I do
Smart
because
move.
it's cheaper. So
That's smart.
Now, do you regret not buying it while you were just there?
no, because it was cheaper. And honestly, like, price at that point was, I think it depends on what you're purchasing. I think there's certain aspects that you just can't get around. Like you have to go in person.
Yeah.
I'm a little weary about like not trying something on with clothes. Like, I don't know how, like, I mean, do you just buy shoes and not
I buy
try
nothing.
them
My wife will go, I bought you all these clothes, try them on. And then I try them on and she goes, which ones do you want to keep? I go, these are all good. And she says, you like them? I go, I love them because I really don't care. And then she'll like, if I don't like something, I go, oh, these are terrible. And then she sends them back. But overall, I wouldn't look for me for fashion advice. I wear 5 T-shirts in a rotation.
Your Monday shirt, your Tuesday shirt. Yeah. So that's it for today's show. Thank you, Tom. Thank you, Jim. Thanks to everybody for tuning in. Check us out online, cgicompany.com. Also check out our Facebook and Instagram page. And remember, when it comes to marketing your business, you don't find your tribe, you attract one.